Hello everyone, welcome to the next lecture video on the chapter number 4, software concepts. So in this class we will be discussing some of the basic concepts that we started in the last class, like programming languages that we are aware of, low level of programming language, high level programming language that we have discussed. Categorization. In today's class, we'll have a look on the high level programming language. After studying the assembly level programming language, where the programs are written by using certain mnemonic codes, in the high level programming language, the language here is designed to make the programming easier through the use of similar English words and the symbols that we use in our day-to-day life. So high level programming languages are machine independent. They do not depend on any machine. Okay. So they are not dependent on like what type of hardware you are using, what type of software you are using. Irrespective of hardware and software configuration, they will be working on all the computers same. So therefore, a program written in one computer can be executed on different computer without no or only slight modifications or changes. So at most of the cases they do not require any changes. Only few changes or slight changes can be required when I am executing the program from one system to the another system. That's the most advantageous part of the high level programming language. The next thing we have is the examples that are related to the high level programming language. Some of the high level programming languages are C, C++, Java, Fortran, QBasic and Pascal are the languages that falls under the high level programming language. In the course details or in the first PU, we will be learning the one of the high level language, that is C++ introduction, and the advanced concept, little bit advanced concepts in the second POC. So the translator is required because the high level programming language are just like similar English words or the symbols that we are using. So as you know, the computer can only understand binary language, that is language of zeros and ones. So it will be a difficult task for the computer to analyze the high level programming language, so it requires a translator. So a translator is a system software that converts one language to the another language. Okay, we have used assembler in the assembly level language. Here we will be using either compiler or the interpreter, which will be converting our high level language into the machine level code or machine level language. So the translator program is used to convert. Here is the compiler that we have taken in the example. So this will help us to convert the program that is written in high level language. It will be sent to a software, a system software which is built into the system. The compiler will check if there are any mistakes or the errors that are happening in the program or the high level program, the source code what we have written, and if any errors are there, it will show the error. If there are no errors that have been highlighted, then it will generate the machine code or object code to equivalent to that particular program. So that will be the process of converting a high level language into low level language. So here, this language also has certain advantages and disadvantages. Like we spoke about the advantages of machine level language, assembly level language, and even disadvantages also. So this has certain advantages and disadvantages. The high level language are machine independent, that means they do not depend on any kind of machine. Easy to learn and understand because common English words and the symbols are being used. Easy to modify from one system to the another system, and debugging the program is easier for us. Okay. Then disadvantages of the high level programming language. High level programming language includes high level programming language is slower in execution because it requires some translator. So high level programming requires a converter, that is called as a compiler, which will convert our source code. Source code means the program what we write, okay, is called as the source code. So the program should be converted to the object code. Object code means the low level language, that is binary code or machine code also we can consider. Okay, so it requires a compiler to convert the high level language, that is source code, into the object code. Adds a disadvantage to this because the process is a bit time consuming or it requires more memory. So that's the next point that we are discussing, that is high level programming language takes more time to execute and requires more memory to store the executable file, compiled file, and linkers and loaders will be involved in the process of loading this. So we discuss about the process that is involved in high level programming language. That finishes the very much introduction to the how the computer are going to work in the programming environment and what are different kinds of programming languages we have. So we said programming language is a set of rules that are called as syntax. So the programs are generally written to perform a specific task, and we have two kinds of programming language, the low level and the high level. Under low level we have discussed machine level language and the assembly level language. In the high level we have general purpose and all that. We will be not going in depth about it. Going to the unit introduction, that's where the main central point of this particular chapter begins, is the concept of software. So the software is nothing but a collection of computer programs. Now how the programs are written, that is a different way, and we have understood the programs are nothing but set of rules, that is called as syntax, and this can be categorized into different parts, that is program can be categorized into different parts. So the computer programs are written or collectively they are called as a software. Now and related data that is related to a particular program will be provided for the computer program for doing the following thing, that is instructing a computer what to do and how to do it. Okay. So a software is a collection of programs and related data that provides instruction to the computer or instructing a computer what to do when certain task will come and how to do it, where to store the answer, how to perform the algorithm. Okay, everything will be dealt in this software. Considering the best example of the software in existence before the computer is our brain. Okay, because the work of the computer and the software is to take the data or information, process it, okay, or use for specific purpose. Similarly, our brain is also one of the processing unit. The processing of information in human brain, the human brain consists of neurons, and these neurons are interconnected with each other. So our brain is one of the massively parallel processor. So it is acting like one of the massive parallel processor or massively available parallel processor, that is what we call it as the brain existence. So this is the kind of a software that we have in your body. So everything that you want to think will go to brain first. If you want to raise your hand, if you want to talk, if you want to analyze something, everything is been processed. Your nervous system is been carried out, your neural system, your everything activities in your body is been connected to the brain. Similarly, your hands, your legs are just like the hardware, and the brain is just like a software which is controlling the every part of the organs or every part of your body. Classifying the computer system, when I think about a computer system, the computer system consists of three major components. One is the hardware, the software, and the users. User is basically a person who sits onto the computer and operates the computer or gives some input or enters some data into the computer. So he is a person with a basic computer knowledge. Whereas the hardware is consisting of physical devices. We can also call them as peripheral devices, that are attached from outside. Physical devices in the sense the devices that we can touch, that we can feel. So hardware consists of physical devices and their interconnections are also to be stored and execute a program. All this consists of a hardware. The very examples that you have about the hardware devices are shown in the diagram. Just like keyboard, there are different types of keyboards you have studied in the input, output and memory devices. Ergonomic keyboard, standard keyboard, virtual keyboard, wireless keyboards. Okay, here also have different keyboards over here. One of the kind is your Apple keyboard which we have. Okay, optical mouse, Apple mouse will be different. You have seen maybe Apple chargers, okay, which is different, which do not suit the other Android mobile phones. Then you have webcam, okay, other webcams also, joystick, headphones, computer speakers, okay, adapters, scanners, printers, okay, laser printers, projectors, okay, everything that we can see, that we can touch and feel are considered to be the hardware. A software is the one, what will be main focus of this chapter is a collection of computer programs. Now, have you heard about one thing called as OS, stands for operating system? Example is Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. All these are the operating system. And in your mobile phone you have Android operating system. Okay, in Apple you have iOS operating system. So what is this? It is the software which is collection of thousands of programs which are coordinating with each other to perform some specific task. So that is similarly this way, a software is basically the collection of computer programs and related data that provides instructions for instructing a computer what to do and how to do it. This definition we have seen in the introduction. A software is basically built in different kinds. So there are different computer software that we have. The one of its kind is the application software we will be using daily for our tasks. Okay, like application purpose, you have in your mobile phone like WhatsApp, you have like Zoom. All these are the applications that are built for the mobile phones or for the smooth conduct of some tasks. Similarly, there are some applications that are general purpose like Tally, used for accounting, okay, used for only specific purpose. Other accounts like Gmail accounts, all those are, okay, it can be even installed onto your computer also. Then we have the next kind, after the application software, we have the system software, okay, which involves language translator, operating system and utility software. The language translator has different types again. We have just an idea about the translator. So translator is a kind of system software. The job of the translator is to convert one language to the another language. We have assembler, we have compiler and we have interpreter that we will be discussing in the coming class. Next we have the other kind of system software is a linker and loader that we will be discussing again. The operating system which makes the computer to work or to run. Now your mobile phone is working because of the operating system. What you have is Android or it may be other iOS operating system. Some of the example of the operating system are the Linux, the Unix, okay, Red Hat, Windows. All these are the examples of the operating system. In short, we will call it as OS, okay, OS, operating system. Then the next category of the system software is the utility software. The word utility is utilizing the resources whatever are available and making a useful thing out of it. Similarly, utility software are some of kind like antivirus software. We have NPAV, okay, Quick Heal, some other antivirus software as asked, like backup software. You have, okay, for backup and recovery. Let us talk about the backup and recovery now. Now, the main important thing about the backup and recovery is when you want to store something for the future use, you will store it somewhere in your hard disk, you will store somewhere in your mobile. Okay. Now, what if the mobile gets corrupted? If you want the backup of the entire thing, what is there on the mobile phone? Okay, you have an option called backup and recovery. So, a backup file will be stored in a cloud, just like Google Drive. You have an example of the cloud storage, okay, or in your some Oppo cloud account or some account, Samsung cloud accounts, other thing. So that backup file can be extracted even after the mobile phone is just not working properly. So backup is nothing but getting the file even after it has been deleted. Okay, even after the company mobile has been corrupted due to some internal issues, then also you can back up your files, okay, very efficiently and restore them as they were before. So it's one of the advantages that we have in the technology nowadays, that is backup and recovery. The first thing that we will be discussing is not the application software, we will take it later. The first thing that we will be discussing is the software which are related to the system. So it is system software that we will be dealing in today's class. That is the language translator, operating system, and even utility software also will be seen in upcoming classes. What is system software? To be very much specific about the word system software, the word system software is related to the functioning of the system, that is the computer. What are the operations that a computer can perform is majorly coordinated, controlled, done by the system software only. There are different kinds, as you have seen in diagram, language translator, operating system, utility software, all these things. System software is basically a collection of programs, okay, interrelated programs you can say. They are being built, the purpose of is to control or to manage the operations that are going on the computer. So they are going to control and manage the operations of the computer system. The very best example of the system software is the operating system, the language translators that we have, assembler, compiler, interpreter are the language translators. We will be talking about the next slide. Linkers, loaders, editors, okay, device drivers and so on. Okay, when you insert some pen drive, the device has to be detected. So there is a software for that which is built into the USB device itself. So we have device driver as the best example of the already existing system software. What is the main objective of the system software is? The objective of the system software is to efficiently or effectively perform the functions that are commonly required, which are required to operate the system by the user. So such functionalities are being implemented by the system software. So system software helps us to perform functionalities of the operating of a computer by the user. So the programs, because they are working as a functionality purpose, they need to be written or they are written in the machine level language, because the speed of the execution of the instructions should be greater or a larger speed or high speed of execution is required. So these programs are basically written in the machine level language, okay, because the machine level language is the language that a computer can understand, so that it's direct, it is not having any intermediator. So hence they execute at an efficient way. Okay, system software examples we have, that is one of the operating systems that we see around is Microsoft Windows, Apple, Linux. Okay, these all are the versions of Windows. These all are the versions of Apple. These all are the versions of Unix that is been developed. Android is made up of Unix, actually made by the Google, Ubuntu. Okay, then you have Red Hat and so on, are all the examples of the system software. The types of system software that we have classified there, but still we'd like to go further and see what are the different types of system software is the operating system, the utility software, the disk drivers or the device drivers, and the language translator. So in the next class, we'll have a look on the language translator. Thank you.